Now, chaos and controversy yesterday in Nigeria's House of Representatives as lawmakers passed far-reaching amendments to the Electoral Act. Amid protests inside the chamber and demonstrations outside the National Assembly, the House aligned with the Senate to drop real-time electronic transmission of election results and scrap indirect party primaries. The session was disrupted by shouting matches, walkouts, and a prolonged closed-door meeting as opposition lawmakers warned that the changes could weaken democracy ahead of the 2027 general elections. Arise correspondent Adesu Agiwa Osage reports.
The House of Representatives has passed the Electoral Act Amendment Bill, aligning with the Senate to drop real-time electronic transmission of election results and abolish the option of indirect party primaries.
Clause 58. Clause 59. Clause 16. 61.
The decision followed a day of unbridled chaos inside the chamber against the backdrop of sustained protests outside the National Assembly, where demonstrators demanded transparent, real-time transmission of votes. Tensions peaked when Speaker Tajuddin Abbas ignored overwhelming opposition to rescind earlier House amendments, ruling in favor of the aids despite loud nays.
Those against should say nay. That is how it is. Mr. Speaker, sir.
Triggering pandemonium that forced lawmakers into over an hour of a closed-door executive session. When the plenary resumed, the House dissolved into a committee of the whole chaired by Deputy Speaker Benjamin Kalu. Attempts to pass multiple clauses at once sparked fresh protests, with lawmakers storming the floor.
Point of order, Mr. Chairman. You're supposed to read line by line. Point of order.
Plenary today was disrupted 3 times before the House reverted to clause-by-clause consideration. The most contentious provision, Section 63, had originally mandated real-time electronic transmission of votes and enjoyed wide support when passed in December. Its reversal today split lawmakers sharply across party lines, prompting opposition members to stage a walkout amid chants accusing the ruling APC of stealing the people's mandate. Another major change sees the removal of indirect primaries under Section 84, effectively centralizing control of party nominations in national party leadership, raising concerns that popular candidates would now be shut out without approval from Abuja.
Pay attention to Section 84. Not democracy at all. This is pure fraud.
Minority lawmakers warn the amendments weaken democracy at its core and are calling on Nigerians to raise their voices.
And so these are issues that we feel that Nigerians should take up from here. As your representatives, we have made our position known.
Describing today's events as a stark reminder that while the minority may speak, the majority will ultimately have its way.
Nobody has any issue with anybody. And I believe that a lot of the members in the House that went through this process with us had the same good intent for their people. But when it is now an issue of whipping, and it is voting on party lines as opposed to what is the people's desire, it's wrong.
Adesu Agiwa Osage, Arise News, Abuja.
Well, the conversation continues, and joining us live on Daybreak this morning is the Labour Party House of representing Okpe, Sapele, and Uvie Federal Constituency in Delta State, Honorable Benedict Etanabene. Thank you for joining us live on Daybreak.
Thank you for having me. So
what we saw yesterday, because it happened amidst protests that this is what we want against what the House of Rep, which saw the House rescinding its earlier decision that was passed. Was that a unanimous decision? Was that a bipartisan resolution of the House submission?
Okay, thank you very much. Actually, the House did not go back on what they actually
passed, some days back, is just the inclusion of these proviso that if it fails, that we will now use manual collection. The form EC8A will not be what we will resort to. That is what we didn't like. We felt that area, is capable of being manipulated, to the advantage of the ruling party. So, if not electronic transmission.
So does that mean that the narrative would hold it as a game of numbers being weaponized against what the opposition party is actually demanding?
This matter was discussed in the House before, and it didn't get to this point. Perhaps it's at this harmonization level that the way and manner it was conducted, really got many persons not too happy yesterday. If not, it's not a new topic. We had discussed it before, and it went through, seamlessly. There was no problem to it.
Now, speaking of what happened yesterday, we all saw the chaos that ensued. Do you think that Nigerians can trust that the elections of 2027 will be free and fair at this point with all that is going on?
You see, that proviso actually took us back to the situation in 2023. Nothing different. It's just still the same. So, and of course, in the recent time, when you tell these APC people that things are rough, you guys are not doing very well, how will you guys be able to, win back your elections? They keep telling you that it's arranged and that everything is to their favor. So you can only be boasting if you have a joker, to give to the Nigerian people. You can see in the recent time, everybody is just decamping to the APC. If you get to the APC, you must win election, back. So I think that is one of the reasons that we felt that we should get this electoral, act well done for Nigerians, so that this whole issue of writing of results, will not come. I experienced writing of results in 2023, and it's not an experience I want, us to go through in 2027 again.
So let's get this specifically clear. In terms of, we need more clarity on this. We are talking about Section 60, subsection 3 of the Electoral Draft Amendments. And going back to 2023, which you mentioned, the controversy, the bone of contention there was the need for a mandatory, unconditional, real-time electronic transfer, in which the Supreme Court said that it cannot fill in the gap, that they will need to go back through the legislative process to ensure that there is a mandatory real-time electronic transfer of election results. So now bringing that condition to it now, that in a place where the live transmission cannot occur, where there's failure of live transmission, that they will resort to manual. Isn't that a recycle of that process in which Nigerians protested against at the 2023 elections?
Okay. Now, the difference between 2023 and now with this transmission, you see, they did real-time transmission in 2023 too. The only problem...
At the National Assembly?
Yes.
Even before 2023, Osun election?
Oh, yes, they were doing it.
Even Anambra elections?
Yes, the only problem is that it's in the INEC guidelines. And the Supreme Court is saying that since it's in the guidelines, INEC has a discretion of what, to do under situations like that. So we are trying to move it from the guideline itself to the act, so that it will not be a thing of discretion of INEC to say they can go left or go right. But the introduction of this proviso actually brought us back to the same situation where INEC can use its discretion to now tell you that there was a problem somewhere. So we now resort to from EC8, A. Actually, that is where the whole problem in Nigeria.
Okay, but what do you make of the voice voting? Because a lot of people heard the nays against the what was being proposed as against the yeah. So, and we saw the speaker endorsing against the popular voice votes.
You see, something happened in the last 2-3 days. That this is not the spirit of the members of the House of Representatives. This topic It's not new. We debated it. If it was something that actually we were arguing about it in December when it came to the floor, I would tell you, okay, say build up to it. You know, it was unanimous. But 2 days ago, like I said, the process they went about this, there's a conference committee that was supposed to meet with the Senate counterpart. It did not meet. That committee did not hold. Then before we heard of anything, that overnight, they were in the Senate President's house. Yes. Right. And these are presiding officers. These are not officers that actually
for the optics, what do you make of such
No, they just decision? Promised them, they blackmailed them into telling them that they will have automatic tickets, you know, return and
so there were a lot of horse trading.
Yes, that's just all. That's just all.
But you also spoke about the discretions of INEC. Do you trust INEC to conduct credible elections at this point?
I don't. But I trust the Nigerian people.
On your opinion.
You see, for my own experience, from the moment you finish voting to where they collate voting, that is where the problem is. They begin to mutilate, you know, the papers with strange figures. It doesn't add up at all, you know. So I give you an example. Okay, yesterday, when the first amendment to that section failed by the opposition, I came up with another amendment, and I said, okay, it's all right. Allow the proviso to stay. But let us add another subsection into it, where if there is discrepancies between the results in the from EC8A and the one transmitted to IREF, that the IREF one, you know, they turn it down too. You know, so I was asking my colleagues, we did not change anything now. Okay, we have adopted the Senate version, but let us put this one, you know, inside, so that we always have the IREF one as the reference point for the announcement of results. But it turned down. So.
Okay, so we're still talking about accountability. Do you think lawmakers are serious about punishing electoral fraud, or do you think this is something that's just being said?
No, we are serious. We are really serious. Yesterday, one amendment also came that this real-time transmission, if the presiding officer does not do it real-time, we should increase the punishment from 500,000 to 10 years imprisonment. You know, it suggests, you know, that we're really serious in getting it, you know, done the way Nigerians, you know, will be pleased, and giving the country a very good electoral process, you know, to selecting leaders.
So I know there are other mode of voting within in terms of following parliamentary rules. So why adopting that voting voice vote, which always brings up controversies?
Me, I'm a realist. I don't see any difference between voice voting and the one you do electronically. It's the same people.
But
it's the same people. It's obvious.
But would you accept that there was a difference between what was endorsed by the speaker and what the prevailing voice?
No, at that stage, we were objecting to the process. Mark, when we resumed yesterday, we were not going to go into executive session at the beginning. It was present the bill for us to discuss. So we started agitating that, wait, we learned you guys had a meeting last night. You know, what is the outcome of that meeting? Don't just give us cooked up, you know, agreements. Let us see it first. That necessitated the executive section. And it was in the executive session that we objected to many of these, you know, changes in it. But when we couldn't get through, we came back to plenary and the matter repeated itself again. And we're going to wait patiently for that section. You know, so when that Section 60 was mentioned, obviously we're not going to take it, you know, the way they thought. You know, we'll just accept it like that.
Now, looking ahead at the elections that are coming 2027, do you think that Nigerians abroad should be able to vote?
Well, for logistic purpose, the ones we have here in Nigeria, not every person is even voting. You know, talk less of the ones outside the country. Not that the desire is not there, not that it's not possible, but we have not developed ourselves. Look at, we're talking about just real-time transmission. Just from anywhere in Nigeria that anybody can send text to another person. It's still the same process. You know, they are telling you that there will be glitches, it's possible that it will fail, and all the rest. You see the ones that are abroad. But I would be happy that they are allowed to vote. We have gotten there in technology. It's just that we are pretending that we don't have the technology, whereas we use them every day.
Okay, now I'm still on the mode of operation. What happens? There's been a lot of questions on transparency because the mode of presentation of the Electoral Act was initially presented in an enveloped system, while the people demanded that it should be taken clause by clause. So why was that?
Okay, well, that is not the first time that the Deputy Speaker, he's a very good chairman of any meeting, is presiding over. He has the capacity, honestly speaking. So it's not the first time he's doing it. But we felt doing it in bulk will now make us lose the opportunity to single out that particular, clause. Because now he could come and say, because it was going very fast, he could come and say 50 to 60, then you say carried in 50 to 60. 60 is what we are concerned about. So we wanted him to take it easy, go clause by clause, and we waited patiently. If you watch the proceedings very well, you will see that people didn't really object to, I wanted to do something around 28, but it quickly went through like that. But when we got to 60, that was where we said, no, let us talk about this one a little, further. So it's not like it's new to us. He does it all the time, and it's okay by us, especially some of these bills that we all have ideas about, before, we come to a stage of passing, those bills.
Now let's touch a little bit on your constituency. Do you think your constituents are confident that their votes will count ahead of 2027?
Well, Nigerians are not confident. But I tell you, I believe that this election in 2027 is going to be different from 2023.
In what way?
People will be more serious to guide their vote. It happened in 2023. Many people never. If it's the way they do election before, many of us would not really, come this direction. People stood their grounds, to make sure that those results are transmitted immediately after voting. But it was later those desperate people in power started coming with this notion that nothing will still happen. Let us do it the way we used to do it. So if they plan to do it in 2027, like the way they did some in 2023, I'm very confident that Nigerians, will vote against it.
Okay.
Look at what happened in the National Assembly, the protests. Whoever thought that we will come to a point where National Assembly members would take a different position from the Nigerian people. Of course, they came out and they showed their strength.
But they're still defiant. But apart from that now, don't you feel you are being incurably optimistic about the possibility of a free and fair election come 2027? Looking at Clause 84, the amendment of Clause 84, expunging indirect primaries among the options for party primaries.
Personally, if you listen to the arguments on both sides, you will not really fault, any groups. Now, see that section, limiting only to consensus candidates and direct primaries, was meant to cure the influence of godfathers, in indirect primaries. There are a lot of godfathers, especially governors, who decides the fate of anybody who wants to.
But don't you think that would lead to imposition of candidates from the central office, from the headquarters?
No, but that is exactly why they say they needed that direct primaries. They are celebrating it, those members, because they believe that the governor will not be able to select their cronies to vote in indirect primaries. In direct primaries, you'll be facing the people, directly. It's like 2 elections anyway, So some people like it, but our own is that you don't need to restrict the mode. Leave it for the party. Leave it for the party to decide how they want to bring, their candidates. Not every party will be strong financially to do direct primaries. They won't be able.
Do you fear that any political violence will break out in 2027?
No, Nigerians are not violent people when it comes to political, matters. I'm not saying much of history, apart from the first Republic. But
we've been seeing so many protests. We've been seeing a lot of ruckus going around lately. It seems like people are fed up.
This result will be transmitted. there will not be. Nigerians will resist those areas of mutilating results. And it's very easy. It's just monitoring. It's just easy. Monitoring. From the very moment the vote ends, every party agent available should look on that paper. Make sure it's transmitted. In my experience, we finished voting at a particular time and they were saying they were not going to, send result, no network. One of the agents insisted that there is network, they should transmit this result. And it took some time, and they did. So Nigerians must insist, follow the results from the voting center, the polling center, to the collation center. Nothing will happen. The only problem, again, is those who are going to be induced, and we have made punishment available for those people.
Let's quickly take this one. The election timetable, the time given to INEC on the notification of election notice. What do you make of it?
It's unfortunate that we waited till this time to be talking about amendment, of constitution. Honestly, these are the things you start at the beginning. 1 year before now, we should have been done with it. I was going to make a suggestion yesterday, but I wasn't given the opportunity. I said, with the way we are now, we are talking about dates of it's not convenient and all those stuff like that. Why can't we just have the whole election in 1 day?
Thank you. Thank you so much, Honorable Benedict Etanabene, representing Okwe, Ovie, and Sapele Federal Constituency. It's been so much insightful conversation with you, but unfortunately, we are always pressed for time. And that's all we have for you here on Daybreak. I'm Benga Ashur. It's goodbye from me.
And I'm Yolanda Robert. Please do keep it here on Arise News. The morning show is next. Goodbye.